Finally, here we are about to take a look at some of my collection. As I listed in the title, this is just part one. If you guys really like this, if it becomes popular, we can always go through some of the other binders in the future. But for now, to be honest, I'm still trying to figure out how to make this at least somewhat interesting and fun to watch. So what I thought I'd do, at least for this first attempt at this video, as we go through each coin, I will just kind of give some information about the location that I pressed it at, if there's anything unique about the machines, or if there's any funny anecdotes about maybe something that happened on that trip, then I'll definitely let you know. That way you're not just staring at my hands the whole time. Okay, so first we're going to start kind of small, just to kind of test the waters with this whole process, and we're going to take a look at my Canadian press penny collection. As I mentioned in a previous video, I am originally from Ottawa, Canada. I was born there and lived there until I was basically in high school before we moved down to the United States. We do have a lot of family that still live there. We don't get back as often as we would like, but every couple of years we are able to go back for various family functions, which is always nice to go back for a visit. So where we're going to do this first tour with the press pennies took place a couple years ago on one of these trips back. We went back for a wedding that was in a town just outside of Ottawa, and it was supposed to be just over a weekend. All right, so I think first what we're going to do is, just to make these a little more manageable, I'm actually going to take them out of the binder. So after the wedding, my wife and I decided to stretch it out for a full week vacation and spend most of our time in Toronto and around Niagara Falls. I will be honest, some of this planning was due to Ottawa not having any press penny machines, but Toronto and Niagara actually had plenty to find. I did my usual research on pennycollector.com to find out where all the different penny machines were and made sure we would stop at as many of those places as we could. The 6-hour drive from Ottawa to Toronto brought back plenty of flashbacks from my childhood, as that was a trip we did multiple times a year due to my father's side of the family living all around the Toronto area. Once we were in Toronto, we went to visit the Hockey Hall of Fame. I mean, of course, I'm Canadian, so that's exactly where I wanted to make my first stop. I visited this place when I was a kid, and it's always fun to go back, but unbelievably, there was not a press penny machine here. I still can't believe that for some reason. After we left there, we walked not too far away to the CN Tower. Once we bought our tickets, there was a long walk through security and up and down some ramps before we eventually got to the elevators that would take us up to the observation level, which is about 1,136 feet in the air. Yikes. On the lower level beyond the security is where the 4 penny machines were located. It's basically kind of like a gift shop. The machines each had 3 designs, but some of the designs were duplicates, so among all 4 machines, there were really only 8 unique designs. Alright, so these are where we've got the different ones from the CN Tower. Let's take a look here. Classic My Lucky Penny design with a shamrock and a horseshoe. Does say the CN Tower on it, which is pretty cool. Next is actually one with the design of the CN Tower, the maple leaf at the bottom. It's a nice one. This one's showing off the sky pod that's all the way up at the top. Same thing. This is another one still from the CN Tower, one of the other machines, which is the Toronto Skyline, which is really nice, and does say Toronto, Canada right on it. CN Tower, I heart you. There's another one showing off the lookout and the 1,136 feet up in the air. So those are the unique designs. As I did say, overall there are more designs, but they actually duplicate. So these are basically the 8 unique designs that you can find throughout those different machines. Oh, and did I mention these were $2 each? Yeah, this was quite an expensive penny pressing trip. Also, remember that you are not allowed to press Canadian pennies in the machines. If you want to learn a bit more, you can check out this video. I'll put it up in the top corner. To watch a video I made all about the legality of pressing coins, and I gave some information about whether it's legal or not in different countries. So the next day we headed to the Toronto Zoo, which had a total of 4 press penny machines. The Toronto Zoo was a lot of fun. I don't remember doing it very often when I was a kid. Maybe once or twice I'd actually visited when I was younger. But on this trip, some of it was under construction. So my wife and I found like we were heading down pathways that just led nowhere, and there was no exhibits or anything. We just kind of had to turn around and backtrack, which wasn't a great experience. But there were a lot of animal exhibits, nothing overly unique, but it was fun to just, I'm a sucker for a good zoo or aquarium, so I don't mind going, especially when I know there's penny machines around. So we did find most of the penny machines were located throughout the zoo, but of course they were in like a gift shop. So here's one of the first ones. Looks like a Komodo dragon. Does have the Toronto Zoo right on it. There's a bison. I put this one down as a great white shark, but it might just be any sort of shark. I'm not sure. Which is a little strange too, because I don't remember there actually being any sharks at the zoo. And another My Lucky Penny with a shamrock and a horseshoe. Second machine is just the Toronto Zoo logo, which is pretty nice. Another Komodo dragon, same design as we had in the first machine. Here we've got a tiger design. And an elephant. So with the third machine, we've got a wolf design. Another quote-unquote great white shark. There we go, we got a giraffe. And another Komodo dragon. This is something I will mention. I did notice with a lot of these Canadian machines is there are a lot of duplicate designs around. So, you know, it depends on how much of a completionist you want to be, if you must have every design from each machine. But I did find that, especially when they were $2 each, I just kind of skipped a lot of the duplicates. All right, here we go with machine number 4 at the Toronto Zoo. Let's see what we got here. So here's a cheetah. And a meerkat. Baboon. And finally, a sacred ibis. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but that's what it says. Pretty cool. These are nice designs. You can tell they're pretty simple. You know, the font isn't anything overly special, and even the designs of the different animals are pretty simplistic, but they're still pretty nice. Nice designs, nice set. So after spending most of the day at the zoo, for dinner we decided to head over to the Yorkdale Mall, which had a Rainforest Cafe. I've mentioned previously that I love these overly, what I call themed restaurants, but we have been to so many of them that we didn't actually eat there on this trip. But they did, as most of them do, have a press penny machine, so I wanted to stop there so that I could check out the gift shop, just in case there was a machine, and sure enough, we found one. These are some of my favorite. I really like these designs from the Rainforest Cafe. So you can see it does have the Rainforest Cafe logo, and it does actually say Toronto on it, which is really nice. It's one nice thing I really do enjoy about the Rainforest Cafes is that they do put the location on all of their designs, so it makes for fun little sets and mini collections to have. And here we go. We got a Gator in a hockey uniform. I mean, how could you not? We're in Canada. Got Bomba the Gorilla in an RCMP. It's the Royal Canadian Mounted Police uniform. Most people know them as the Mounties. And the last design is just a nice big maple leaf with a friendly, I'm sure it's friendly, snake wrapped around it. That ended our few days in Toronto, and next up we headed to Niagara Falls. Now, these pennies from Niagara Falls were actually collected over 2 separate trips, so I'm going to just break it up just purely for storytelling purposes. All right, this first set is from a place that's called the Bird Kingdom. It basically is just a giant aviary. You do just go into a main building at the beginning, and you pay your entrance fee. There's a big gift shop, and then when you head out into the back, it's wide open space. It is enclosed, so the birds can't get away, but they're just really just flying around you. There's guides you can take, little sheets of paper that will actually point out all the different birds that you can kind of bird watch if that's your thing. We did go through it. I'm honestly not a big bird person, but it was still fun to do. But really, honestly, I was just waiting for the penny machine that showed up at the gift shop at the end. So you can see the first design here we have is just the Bird Kingdom logo. Second up is a Hornbill. So these are nice because it does also have Niagara Falls on the bottom. Here's what I guessed is a parrot. And a toucan. The next place we visited was the Butterfly Conservatory. This is another place similar to the Bird Kingdom, except it's just all about butterflies and is much smaller. It was cool. There was these little trays all over the place that had fresh fruit on them, like oranges. The butterflies would just land there, and I guess that's what they like to eat. So you could get right up close to them, take some really fun pictures. Sometimes they would land on you. It was like anything, you really had to watch where you were walking, because sometimes they would just land right in the middle of the ground. So you did have to be very careful. But that was actually a really fun place. I enjoyed that much more than I did the Bird Kingdom. So you can see this first design here, the Butterfly Conservatory logo. Next up, this is my terrible French accent, but Le Papillon. It's just French for butterfly. Then we've got a big maple leaf saying Niagara Falls, Canada. This is a pretty common design. I'm pretty sure we come across this a few more times at some other machines. There's a nice one of the Horseshoe Falls. Now you might notice, you can actually see, as we've talked in other videos, there's that streaking or tearing of the zinc coating on the penny. Unfortunately, with a lot of these machines up in Canada, because you can't use Canadian pennies and they don't want to risk someone just using one anyways, a lot of the machines are actually preloaded with pennies. So they're preloaded with American pennies. So you just don't get a choice of what coin you can use. So a lot of time, unfortunately, they just have you'll see in some of these other coins, they're pretty dirty, they're not the greatest quality, and they almost always are zinc pennies, so you do run the risk of having this tearing, which is unfortunate, but really wasn't going to stop me from getting all these, because I really do enjoy the designs. There was a second machine at the Butterfly Conservatory, so we got another one with the similar logo that we saw in the first machine. This is another place that's further down, doesn't have anything to do with the Butterfly Conservatory, but it's actually called Whitewater Walk. We'll get to that. There's actually a penny machine specifically at this location that we'll get to in a few minutes. This is the Maid of the Mist. It's well known as it's this boat tour that you get on. You have to pay a fee to get on it, but you get on this boat and it actually takes you right out into the water up close to the falls. You do get this nice blue or yellow poncho because you do get pretty wet when you get out there. And another lucky penny, this time with a maple leaf and a horseshoe. So this second set at the Butterfly Conservatory, not really having anything to do with butterflies. But I have a feeling a lot of these machines probably just get moved around from place to place, which is why they're kind of generic in nature. So the next place we stopped at was a place called the Floral Clock. I'm not sure if that's the official name or not, but it's exactly as it sounds. It's just a giant clock right by the road, but it's actually all made out of flowers. So there is a bit of a, it's not really, it's kind of a gift shop right down by the parking lot. That's where this penny machine was located. So this is where you can see Floral Clock, Niagara Falls. There's kind of a design of it. Here's another one of those kind of generic maple leafs we talked about earlier. Another slightly different design of the horseshoe falls. And this is kind of a fun design with the American and Canadian flags. So a lot of these places that we just kind of went over, the Bird Kingdom, the Butterfly Conservatory, and the Floral Clock, they're just kind of slightly on the outskirts of kind of what we'll call the downtown of Niagara Falls, which is right around where the falls actually are located. So once we were done for the day, we made it back to our hotel. We kind of hung out there for a little while, and then eventually we headed out to a place it's kind of a really touristy area called Clifton Hill, and that's where there's all sorts of things like there's a haunted house there. There's I remember doing a mini golf course that was basically glow in the dark. It was like in the basement of a building. There's a zombie attack place, all sorts of things, tons of souvenir shops. And one of the things there, because you can't, as an American, there's always a joke about not being able to get Cuban cigars, and up right across the border in Niagara Falls, there are a ton of cigar shops offering and advertising that you can get real authentic Cuban cigars there. So one of the places that I thought was a little out of the ordinary to have an actual penny machine was a place called the House of Cuban Cigars. So as you can see with this one, again, it's that design we saw earlier of the Horseshoe Falls. Here's another one of the Rainbow Bridge. That's kind of the main big bridge that you take if you're driving either from the United States into Canada or vice versa. And this is a design of what's called the Skylon Tower. This is just kind of similar to the CN Tower. It's not as tall as the CN Tower, but it's right near the water, or right near the falls. So when you go up, they've got a really nice observation deck, and there's actually a revolving restaurant that I'll go over in a little bit once we get into the Skylon Tower designs. And another maple leaf. This one's a little different because it actually says Canada in the middle of it. But as we mentioned, I'm pretty sure if you go back, this machine probably isn't here anymore. I don't even know if the store would still be there, but I have a feeling these are kind of moving machines that they just go from location to location. So the designs might still be there, probably just not at the same location. And as luck would have it, that House of Cuban Cigars actually had a second machine. So this is another one for the Maid of the Mist, just a slightly different design. There's another one of the Rainbow Bridge. Another one advertising the falls. And this is an interesting one, I guess, trying to share some history, but it's a design of a man in a canoe going over the falls. Next place we headed to was the Maid of the Mist. That was the one I had just talked about not too long ago, where You get down onto a boat, they give you a poncho, you head out, and they actually take you really close to the falls. You do get pretty wet, but it is a pretty cool experience. My wife and I actually did it on this trip. If I can find a picture of us out on the boat, I'll put it in here. But these were while you're in the main building for the Maid of the Mist, where you would actually get your tickets. They had a couple machines. So on the first machine, another design we've seen before of the main boat. They have multiple boats, so there isn't just one. But they're all called Maid of the Mist, and it's like Maid of the Mist 1, 2, 5, 10. They got a whole bunch of them. Another similar design, but it looks like it's got the boat facing the other way. Rainbow Bridge again. And another one of that Skylon Tower. All right, second machine. Another one of the American and the Canadian flags together. Same design from the first machine of the Maid of the Mist boat. This is a horizontal design of the Maple Leaf with Niagara Falls, Canada across the bottom. And another design of the Rainbow Bridge. And here's the last design at the Maid of the Mist, which is just a banner that says Best Friends Forever, Canada, Niagara Falls. So next we headed over to the Skylon Tower. As I mentioned, this actually is a revolving restaurant up at the top, which is one of my favorites. We used to go there with my grandparents. I said a lot of the time it was for like Mother's Day or some special occasion. So I love going up there. That restaurant's really great. I remember as a kid before, when I always sat at the edge right near where the window was, and I used to put a penny on the ledge, which didn't move, so our table would continue to move around. And I always wanted to see, because they said it would take about an hour for you to make a full revolution, and I was always looking for my penny on the way back, and it never showed up. So I'm not sure if there were other kids that were doing the same thing and they picked up my penny thinking it was their penny, but my penny never seemed to come back. I'm not sure why that is. But anyways, they did have quite a few penny machines. I don't believe any of them were up on the observation deck. Most of them were kind of down the main level I don't want to call it the lobby, but it's kind of where there's a bunch of shopping that's going on. There's an arcade. That's also where you buy your tickets and stuff like that. So one of the designs at the Skylon Tower, strangely enough, is of the Maid of the Mist. Unfortunately, the machines weren't all working, so that was the only design I got out of the first machine. The other designs it was just not rolling properly. So on the third machine, we do have a bit of a different design of the falls. Here's one of the Grand Canyon in Arizona. Maybe they're going for a Great Wonders of the World set. I'm not really sure. Taj Mahal. Whoops. And the Great Wall of China. So maybe that's what they were going for. Wonders of the world, maybe. I guess. I'm not really sure. All right, let's see what we got here. Next, we've got Table Rock Point. This is an interesting place because it's just like this big piece of literally rock that's just kind of hanging out over top of the Horseshoe Falls, and now they've got a big welcome center on top. So that's where these next, I think it was 3 or 4 machines are located, was within that welcome center building. So the first one we have is showing off Niagara's Fury. Another design of the falls. Seen that one a couple times. Another Maid of the Mist. I probably could have saved myself almost $20 if I didn't continue to press this design. And we got kind of a nice logo of Niagara Falls with the maple leaf in the middle. All right, machine number 2. Let's see what we got here. Got another penny with the Butterfly Conservatory logo on it. A little bit of a different design on this one, but it was showing off the Horseshoe Falls. Another one of the Skylon Tower. And the American and Canadian flags again. Machine number 3. Another Good Luck penny with the horseshoe and Canadian, or the maple leaf. Same design of the Horseshoe Falls. You see that one? There, focus. Well, it's a maple leaf. We've seen this one before as well. And another rainbow bridge. Definitely a lot of duplicate designs among all these machines. Last machine over at the Table Rock Point. Poppin' Lollies, which is one of the stores that was inside there. To be honest, I'm not even sure if it would still be there. Another My Lucky Penny. The Whitewater Walk again. And the Skylon Tower. So the next day after our dinner up at the Skylon Tower, we went back to our hotel, stayed overnight, woke up the next day, and we really were going to do, we enjoy doing a lot of the wine trails that they have. Niagara on the Lake is a little town that has a ton of wineries. It's a pretty famous wine region, at least within Canada. They're known for ice wine, which is fantastic. So my wife and I love going over there and just kind of going from winery to winery, sampling wine, trying the grapes, all sorts of stuff. It's a lot of fun there. But along the way, as we drove out there along the highway, I did stop because there were a few other penny machines along the way that I wanted to grab first. So one of those is this one here, which is called the Whirlpool Aero Car. And I'm not sure if you can see it in there. I'll put a picture up here as well. But basically you get into kind of like a big bucket kind of thing. It's almost like a gondola, I guess, that hangs from some cables that are strung across the basically the river that comes off of the down from the falls, and there's a whirlpool down there, so you actually get to go over top of that and take some pictures. I've never done it. I am not a big fan of heights, so this sounds like a nightmare to me, but they always have a long line of people wanting to do it. So this machine is just in the kind of main lobby where you would go to buy the tickets if you wanted to actually go on the Aero Car. Here's another one of a heart saying you were very special to me. Oh, so nice. Another duplicate design of the American and Canadian flags. And that lowly maple leaf. All right, so the next place, as we were heading for our afternoon of wine, I would say wining and dining, but to be honest, there was not much dining going on. It was pretty much all wine. But the next place we stopped was one that we've seen designs for previously, which was the Whitewater Walk. Basically, this is just kind of it looks like a boardwalk, at least that's what we would have called it when I was in New Jersey. That just goes along the river's edge where you can see all the water and the rapids. Here's another design of just a maple leaf. This is another thing. I've never actually gone down there and walked it, but but I did obviously make a quick stop just so I could head inside to press these coins. Same design we've seen before, Horseshoe Falls. And that good old American and Canadian flags again. This next one, this place is called Souvenir City. So initially I stopped here on one of these early trips, and they did have 2 penny machines. Each machine only had 1 design each. So there's one of the falls, which this one's nice. It's actually a little more detailed. And then we had this one, which had the Souvenir City logo up at the top, Niagara Falls, and a nice little design of the falls itself saying Canada at the bottom, which is kind of nice. The second trip was just a few years ago. My wife and I flew in January to Buffalo, then drove across the border and stayed just outside of Niagara Falls for my cousin's wedding. This was supposed to be a quick trip, so we didn't have a lot of spare time for sightseeing, but I did squeeze in a few quick stops along the way. I had just started this YouTube channel, and the video was one of my earlier ones that I really enjoyed putting together. Here's a quick little screenshot of my wife. She made a cameo, which I don't think she actually knows that she made it into the YouTube video. But you can check out the video. I'll put a little link up on the top if you want to check it out. So on this trip, we did head back to Souvenir City, but those original 2 machines were gone, and it had only been replaced with one single 4 design machine. And you can see it is another design of the Maid of the Mist. However, I will say this one does look different, a little more detailed. Another design of the White Water Walk. Good Luck Scent. And the Butterfly Conservatory again. So after we loaded up on maple syrup products and ice wine flavored teas and all sorts of fun little souvenirs, the next place we headed off to, because again, we didn't have much time before we had to head to the wedding, was over at Great Wolf Lodge. I've never actually stayed at a Great Wolf Lodge. They do look amazing. I have heard rumors that we're supposed to be getting one in Orlando, so that might be something I'm going to do coming up. But basically it's like a really themed hotel, and it also has a water park built into it. So I know there was one I had visited. I'd stopped in again to get the pennies up in Pennsylvania. But this one was right near, not too far from the falls. So we ran inside, and these are some more fun designs. This is of their wolf. He's one of their kind of characters dressed up as a Mountie. It's just a paw print, which is kind of part of their logo. This character's name is Violet. Looks like she's dressed up for that Canadian winter. And finally, pretty detailed design of a barrel going over the falls.
Well, there you have it. That's my Canadian press penny collection. I think this went pretty well, and hopefully you found it interesting. I know you probably noticed, as I did point out in the video, that there are a lot of duplicate designs at these machines, and I know that in the United States it's the same. There are a lot of machines that you find along some of the interstates and highways that are just repeated over and over again, but for some reason up in Canada it just seems a little more obvious, and I'm not sure if it's just because there are fewer machines there, but it's still fun. We had a great time. Every time we go up to Canada, it's always wonderful to see family and friends. And of course, any opportunity I can get some more press pennies, I'm all about it. We are hoping to go back up in 2021, depending on what's going on with the COVID at that time. I have a cousin that's getting married in the summer, so we're hoping to be able to go back for that. And of course, I'm going to plan out some other places to get some pennies. I mean, come on, look at how thin this
collection of Canadian coins is. I need to beef this up a little bit. Right before we wrap everything up, I did just want to mention a new series of videos I'm going to be posting up over the next few weeks. It's going to be in addition to our normal Thursday videos. I'm thinking I'm probably going to post them maybe on Mondays or Tuesdays, and I'm calling them Penny for Your Thoughts. And really all it is while everyone's been kind of on lockdown or not able to visit some of the theme parks due to travel restrictions, I have noticed on YouTube and other streaming services, there are some videos that are just called, park atmosphere or park bench videos, where they've really just set up a camera and it's just filming certain areas of the park so that people at home make it feel like they're actually still at the park and they can kind of experience it. So I wanted to do something similar, because I thought these were actually really interesting, but I wanted to put a little press penny spin on it. So what I'm going to be doing is I've set up my camera on a tripod in certain areas, basically doing the same thing, but I've got a press penny machine somewhere in the shot so that you can kind of see it, and it's fun to actually watch some of the guests actually use the machine as well. I will say it's been a little difficult. There's not as many machines as I thought I could do this for. Unfortunately, theme parks love to put machines near bathrooms, and obviously I'm not going to be setting up a camera on a tripod outside of a bathroom for various reasons. So I have been able to find some machines around the different parks. So I'm going to be posting those up. These videos are probably not going to be for everybody, really just the die-hard theme park fans that are really missing the parks right about now. So I thought it would just be something easy and fun that I can put out there. Let me know. I will start posting. I'll put the first one up next, like I said, either Monday or Tuesday, so you can take a look at it and let me know what you think. I don't know how many of these I can do. Just as I said, the machines are kind of limited as to finding an interesting angle to get part of the theme park, and then I also have a press penny machine in there. So be sure to let me know once you see those what you think. Thank you for visiting again this week. Let me know down in the comments below, what did you think of these pennies? Do you have any Canadian press pennies in your own collection? I'd love to hear all about them. I really do appreciate all your comments. I respond to as many of them as I can. We really do have a wonderful community here. I love all the interactions everyone's having with their own collections in the comments. It's really wonderful to see. Please, as always, give the video a big thumbs up. It really does help out the channel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Click the notification button. That way you're made aware of all the new videos whenever we post them. Also, if you have any friends or family members or coworkers, anyone that is a press penny fan, or even, whether they're really into it or just a casual collector, share the channel with them. We want to make this community as big as we can. It's really fun to be able to interact with other collectors all across the country or all across the globe. It's really wonderful. So thanks again as always, and keep on pressing.